moving over to the defensive side of the ball, where last season the pass defense led the way. They ranked 46, only giving up 213 passing yards per game. The run defense did not fare as well. They ranked 122nd, giving up 188.6 yards per game. What did the Eastern Michigan Eagles do in the offseason to try to particularly shore up that run defense?
Well, part of it is Ben Needham, the defensive coordinator, got in the lab, and he'll look at ways to try and limit the run this season. Part of that was they were so good at defending the passes. You pointed out the stats that teams would start running, and we played some teams that had some good running quarterbacks that would cause some problems, that would run an option or get loose inside. So as you were dropping guys off in coverage and these quarterbacks would get loose, Daquan Finn at Toledo is one of those examples who can run and throw the football. So I think they'll do a good job up front. I think they're going to be good. They returned some starters up there, and they should have some real talent on that defensive side of the ball, which they're going to need for a tough MAC schedule.
The defensive line lost a few players to the transfer portal, but they do return Peyton Price and Joey Zielinski, amongst others. How did they look this spring, and did anyone step up that could help this defense?
Listen, the defensive line looked really good, especially in the spring game, where you start thinking, are they that good, or does the offensive line need a little bit of work? And it could be both, but
it's hard. It's hard to judge that, I think, in a spring game. It's so hard.
It's easy because defense, see ball, get ball. There's not as much to learn there. And when you have offense and new quarterbacks coming in and they're trying to, it was funny to watch them work because you can use the radio helmets this year. Yeah. So they're trying to use that instead of signaling in plays, but still get guys in the right formation and communicate through the headset. So the offense was working through a lot in the spring and really diving into that playbook to learn what they needed to learn. The defense was, he snapped the ball, go kill him. So it was working out pretty good for the defense. You mentioned Peyton Price, Joey Zielinski, but they also returned Malik Tullis. They've got Justin Jefferson who can rush off the edge. So there's actually a lot of experience up front for Eastern Michigan and a lot of talent there. So they should be pretty good up front.
They also got an Arizona State transfer, James. I don't know if it's DeJoncum.
Yeah.
DeJoncum. What did he? How did he look, and what kind of role do you expect for him in 2024?
Well, first of all, how did he look? He looks like a player you would create in Madden. He looks photoshopped. The guy is a walking. It's like I could work out my entire life and never look like this guy. He's like a robot. He's humongous. But they've got him at middle linebacker, so he's not on the line. He's a middle linebacker, but he's currently second on the depth chart. So we'll see how things shake out for him as he goes along, but he is a huge human being, and he just looks like a guy that if he hit you, your whole ancestry would feel it. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays in the fall.
Speaking about the linebackers, you lose Joe Sparacio, Chase Klein, some other guys that they brought in. One that I would have expected to kind of be the guy in the middle would have been JT Killen over from Coastal Carolina. They also brought Luke Murphy. What can you tell us about those guys and maybe some of the returning linebackers?
Well, you're replacing probably the best 1-2 linebacker punch maybe Eastern Michigan has ever had with Sparacio and Klein. It seemed like every play, one of those guys was in on the tackle. So what you do is you hit the portal. You mentioned JT Killen from Coastal Carolina. They went out and got Luke Murphy from Kent State, were great gets for the Eagles. Both guys played well. Both guys were playing weak side linebacker this spring.
Okay.
So they were both in the same position. I don't know if that'll change in the fall. They brought in Zion Fanua, who's from Tyler Junior College in Texas, and Joncum, who you talked about from Arizona State. Those two guys were playing middle linebacker. So they went out, they went shopping, and they got themselves 4 really talented linebackers that have some huge shoes to fill.
In terms of returning production, the defensive backfield seems to have made out fairly well. They did lose Kempton Shine, but brought back mostly everybody else. They were very effective as a unit in 2023. What do you think we can expect for this unit here in 2024?
Well, you should expect him to be one of the top secondaries in the MAC this season. Kempton Shine, I talked to him last year. We were talking about this defense. He goes, this is the most talented group of defensive backs I've ever played with. And so with really him being the only one walking out the door, it's a very athletic group. They can fly around in the backfield. They make things crazy for the quarterback. Plus they get Joshua Scott back. Joshua Scott separated his shoulder in the last fall scrimmage last year and missed pretty much the entire season. He tried to go for a couple games, including Minnesota. I was watching him during warmups. He has this huge shoulder brace on. His arm is barely hanging on. And he goes, well, I should see if it works. So he just absolutely popped somebody on our own team in warmups, and it popped out of place. And they're like, you're done. We got to get this thing to heal. So with Joshua Scott back, it really boosts that defense.
If you had to pick a defensive player to have a breakout type season in 2024, who would that be?
Daquan White. I don't think there's any second guess in that. He may be the best corner in the MAC this season. There were some who thought that he might jump to a power school last year, or somebody was going to try and pick him off, but luckily he's back in Ypsilanti. He's 5'10", 163 pounds. He can shut it down on the corner. He had a great freshman year. Sky's really the limit for him, and I think quarterbacks will find out quickly if you want to have success in the passing game. He's a guy you probably want to stay away from because he is an absolute ball hawk.